and welcome to this special edition of Urban Reality. Well, to fast-track its affordable housing mission agenda and revive the flagging real estate market, the government has extended the interest subsidy scheme for mid-income group or MIG by 15 months till March 2019. At the last count, as per the data from the ministry, 2,300 MIG home beneficiaries have availed the CLSS under Pmay, and a total subsidy of 50 crore rupees has been disbursed. And now it's important to point out that we are only talking about the middle income group, not the entire CLSS scheme under Pmay. Now this number is really way short of the money set aside for this subsidy at 1,000 crore rupees for just 2017. So what's really missing? Why is this lag? Remember, 3 months to go for 2017. Why are there not enough takers for freebie from the government in a country like India? Is that the reason why the government has increased the tenure for disbursement of this subsidy by 15 months? Are home buyers clear about the basics of how to avail this subsidy? And is it easy enough to process this subsidy on a loan application with banks and housing finance companies? If you're a home buyer trying to avail the scheme, you can call us right away and we'll help you get some answers from people who really want to make sure that this subsidy reaches you. Joining us today, Sriram Kalyanaraman, MD and CEO of National Housing Bank from New Delhi, Mr. Vaidyanath, MG, General Manager, Real Estate and Housing Business of State Bank of India. He joins us from Mumbai. With me here in the Delhi studio, Gitambar Anand, CMD ATS Infrastructure, and Rishi Mehra, CEO of Wishfin.com, a fintech online home intermediary company. Gentlemen, welcome. My first question to you, Sriram, is, I mean, really this move is probably the shot which real estate needs right now and big good news for home buyers. But the government definitely is worried at the lackluster response. What do you think is the reason?
Before we say it's lackluster response, let me just go back to the earlier scheme announced, which is EWS LIG. I'm glad to say we have crossed both 1,000 crores of subsidy and more than 50,000 households. But if you see, even in that, it took some time because buildings take time to come up. It takes time to reach all the people and then the subsidies to flow. Similarly, in MIG, when we evaluated it, we decided it will need a little more time because if you talk to many of the financial institutions, banks and housing finance companies, they're setting up their systems. There are people whom they are educating on the subsidy. They are getting the qualifying customers out through a middleware, so on and so forth. So it needed a little more time. And I think government took a bold call in taking this till 31/3/2019 so that the middle income group can enjoy the benefits of the subsidy on their home buying.
Okay. Mr. Vaidyanath, let me come to you. I mean, SBI, HDFC, Diwan Housing, the ministry says are the three biggest disbursers of CLSS scheme or subsidy under this scheme. Is it really the fact that there hasn't been enough time because you could only implement it from April onwards and now you see the traction picking up? Have month-on-month numbers increased, sir?
Yeah, the month-on-month numbers are definitely increasing, and I fully agree with MD and CEO of National Housing Bank because house buying is a time-consuming process. First of all, it is not like buying an auto or a car. So here the family takes time to identify the property, first to decide whether they afford buying a house, and once they decide that they can go for a house, they have to identify a house, and it is a time-consuming process. And it is a very, very positive move that this has been extended. And we also have to realize that this year has been a historic year in real estate industry for real estate sector, with RERA having been or is being implemented. And all this, the new scheme, it has to reach the public. The awareness has to be there amongst the people, the beneficiaries. So that is on one hand, and the implementation of RERA on the other hand. And you see the process of buying house also is time consuming.
All right.
So all these things I think have led to some lower numbers in the initial, But the numbers are picking up and we are very, very positive that this move will definitely get good numbers in the days to come.
So I think, is that the issue, Gitambar, that what Mr. Vaidyanath said, that the demand itself is not there and therefore the CLSS for MIG, the offtake hasn't been big? Because, I mean, sales have fallen to a probably 5-year low.
No, he didn't say demand is not there. He said awareness is not there, which I totally agree with. So, yes, awareness is not there because, you know, the home buyers still haven't realized that this is the best thing that has happened ever in the history of housing. You know, getting this freebie, like you mentioned at the beginning of your introduction.
I'm actually surprised. You're knocking off 2.5 lakhs.
Imagine.
And imagine. You know, there are not enough takers. So I'm trying to understand why is it so.
So there are two issues, according to me, and I represent industry. CREDAI has 12,000 members, and we represent the supply side. So there are two issues, basically. One is that there's a lack of awareness, and we request government to push this and either in print media, electronic media, social media.
Are all your marketing people equipped? If somebody comes and says, look, I'm looking at a house from ATS at 35, which costs about 35 lakhs, well, are you going to take a loan?
Nothing to do with the cost. So this is the confusion.
No, I understand. Yeah. But suppose he needs a home loan of 30 lakh rupees, whatever the price of the house might be. But ultimately, the guy cannot take, you know, buy a house of more than 55 lakhs if his home loan would be just, if his income is only 18 lakhs.
So that's a very nice question you asked me. Our team was aware, and CREDAI actually took an initiative to educate all its members that yes, this should be conveyed to the home buyer that there is this subsidy available. But it has not really filtered down right down to the bottom because I asked salespeople from various companies, and they were themselves not aware that this facility is there.
So you're saying awareness is the biggest problem?
Is the biggest problem.
It was announced in December, got implemented from April onwards. We are here in September, at end of September. The best season for buying is here, and there's not enough awareness.
And the second reason, Manisha, is that the sizes are a little limiting. Now, understand this. Home buying is an emotion with us Indians. So whenever anybody wants to buy a house, and I'm not talking of the metros, even in tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, the aspiration is to buy at least a big 3-bedroom house, you know, with 3 toilets, and that area could just be outside your 110 square meters, which is the mid-income housing bracket.
Right.
And I would recommend from industry, you know, why are we having a cap on areas? When you have defined incomes, then what is the need to have a cap on area of the housing unit?
Obviously, if somebody is earning only 9 lakhs or 12 lakhs or 18 lakhs, there is not that, he can't afford a mansion.
I mean, even if he can borrow money, maybe he can afford a bigger house. I would recommend that this limit of 110 square meters should be increased to at least 130 square meters carpet. So then this would become very attractive. And
but is there a limit to how much can you increase? Like, for example, in Bombay, you won't even get anything.
Manisha, Bombay is not India.
Correct.
Neither is the NCR. I mean, we're looking at the entire country. So therefore, in tier 2 cities, where the price is 3,500 rupees a square foot, you know, even a 1,500 square foot is affordable for people who have an aspiration to buy a decent 3-bedroom unit.
All right, let me get Shriram in here. Shriram, would you agree that if you've defined the income, then why define the carpet area? Is there a logic with which this has been done? Essentially, you want the subsidy to go to really people who are mid-income and not be pocketed by the rich, right, or well-off?
Yeah, exactly. When the government designed the scheme, and I'm glad we contributed to it, it was meant to go to the real middle income group. Now, where do we draw the line? We could say 110 can go to 130, 130 can go to 150, but always there is going to be outliers on this. Having said this, if that is the demand of the industry, we would examine it, we would take it back to the government, discuss it and come back. But I would assume that, or I would, that some limit has to be there, and somewhere we need to respect the limit and run on a scheme. Because if I do 130 tomorrow, there could be a demand, make it 150.
All right.
That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, I would also request CREDAI, like, and all the builder associations. In fact, I made it a point to mention in my last builder association meeting in Bombay, Naritco, that the builders could also take it forward, because in EWS and MIG now their initial hesitation was, will the subsidy reach in time to the customer? Now at National Housing Bank, we approved that in flat 4 days we credit the subsidy to the institution, and let's say the institution takes another 1 or 2 days. Probably from the time he gets his home loan account, there are customers who get their subsidy within 15 to 20 days. Right? And
so you're saying the process is not a problem. Process is not a problem. Rishi, you're
not a problem.
Okay. Okay, I'll come to you. Shriram, let me come to you. Let me get the financial intermediary here. Is the process not a problem? Because, you know, in your report, you've also said that, look, there are different banks are following different processes, right? There is no standard process, and CLSS is being disbursed more by housing finance companies than banks.
Correct. So what we figured out from customers was, and if you look at the total data, see, if you look at the total people in this country with 18 lakh incomes as per income tax, there's 68 lakh people. Out of these 68 lakh people, somebody would already have a home, right? So you take out those segment of people, and you then come out to a certain set of people who will be actually looking to buy a home. Now, when there will be people who are actually looking to buy a home, they need to have a clarity on a process, what I need to do to get this scheme across. And government had made it very easy that by signing one single affidavit, they fall through for this system. But this is not advertised. People do not understand that they have to just sign one single document and they will become part of this Pmay scheme. So people think they would have to give other documents.
It's as simple as that? Just signing one affidavit?
Right.
Wow. All right.
So this has never been discussed and told to people that once you take up a home loan, you have to just sign one affidavit and you don't have to give any other documents. So once that is communicated well, large part of people from that who are bench sitters, who are not buying right now, right? They will come in and say that, okay, now I have a 2.5 lakh extra freebie, as you said, and I will just take and go and take a home loan also, and I have that value on that.
All right. So I think we are converging to this point that there's simply not enough information out in the market. We have, of course, a few callers waiting by line, but we will come back in just a short moment. We also want to know whether there's enough stock of this price and size of housing in India. So we've got the numbers of people who actually earn to fall in this category, about 68 lakh people. But what about the stock available? Stay with us.